increased membership. Welcome to you all. This meeting will be web. Hear you. Would anybody with a mobile phone please switch it to silent mode? Thank you. Right, now we proceed to the first item on the agenda, apologies for absence.
I've received apologies from Councillor Godfrey.
Thank you very much. Move on to item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No. We move on then to item 3, the minutes of the last meeting, to consider and approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of January 2020. Is it your wish I sign them as a correct record? Thank you. Then moving on to item 4. Before I do that, you will see that you have the minutes of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee from last night. Their decisions are there. They've basically nothing that affects our meeting tonight. They've agreed and accepted the reports. Thank you. Okay, so item 4. Transformation update. This is purely to update the Cabinet on where we are on transformation, as it's been going on for a long time. There's a little while to go on yet. It's been very successful. It is not very usual that such a transformation takes place with keeping the morale as high as it is, with very little voluntary redundancy being applied for. The staff stability is very good. The turnover is very stable, and this is all through when we're going through some significant changes. So I think everybody who's been involved in it is to be congratulated. It's a very simple recommendation to receive and note the report. Over to you, members. Mrs. Hollingworth.
Just to reinforce what you've said, Leader, and I was going to particularly point out in 3.10, and you've actually already mentioned that, the fact that there's very little redundancy and staff have had other opportunities. So I think that's probably the end of what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I will propose we accept the recommendations from the Chair. Is there a seconder? Councillor Peel. Anybody else wish to speak on this? No? Proposed by me, seconded by Councillor Peel. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We then move on to item 5, General Fund Budget and Council Tax 2020-21. I will introduce this as it's my portfolio now. It's been, as always, the budget goes through all sorts of cycles, and it's been before the Overview and Scrutiny Committee and parts of it several times. I think, again, there's a massive agenda we've got on. You can't say we're a council that sits on our laurels, and I think that we are doing well to do all that we're doing and keeping within the prudent financial boundaries. Later on this evening, of course, will be the budget evening, and then I will extend or to give extensive thanks to the officers that have helped prepare this report. But in the meantime, we have recommendations to receive and note to recommend to the Council the final General Fund budget, and to recommend the Council to approve a council tax requirement for 2020-21 of £13,044,673. I so move. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Peel. Over to you, members. So, Mrs. Hollingsby.
Well, just really to ask a question on the new homes bonus. Just wanted confirmation that this is an in-house, in years, if I've got it right, hold on, in years only settlement for the new homes bonus, and so there is no further monies coming in, or do we not know?
Yes, we do know.
It's 3.7, if you...
Yes, thank you. The new homes bonus allocation for this year was 229,000. That is an in-year only that's been included within the budget, so there's no legacy of payments attached to that allocation. There are still legacy payments in future years for previous years' allocations.
Thank you, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay, any other member wish to speak? Councillor Prater, your virgin speak is...
Will be very short. I just thought I'd say out loud so that a hand did not arise behind you. I'm going to be abstaining on this budget. I'll be abstaining again later this evening. So I'm going to be consistent on it. I'll outline my reasons later. I don't oppose the budget, but there are a number of things in there which I can't support this year.
Thank you for that. Any other member wish to speak? No. Proposed by me, seconded by Councillor Peel. All those in favour? Those against? Abstentions? One abstention. Thank you. Then we move on to item number 5, General Fund Budget and Council Tax. This report sets out the... No, I've done that one. Housing, number 6, Housing and Revenue Account Business Plan. This sets out the Housing and Revenue Business Plan, again an ambitious one. It is with the strategic intent of the way forward with the Housing Revenue Account is within here. This is, I believe, going to be subject to a proposed amendment. But in the meantime, we would say that the house building programme is based on a cost of £170,000 per unit, and all these assumptions, and on that, on that assumption, this whole scheme is viable. So I will move the report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Peel. And over to you, members. First of all, Councillor Prater.
Thank you. I have an amendment to move, but it's in no way an amendment to decry any of the intention or the numbers behind this report. I think the intention is bold and exactly the sort of thing that this council should be doing. And I think that the target of 1,000 houses within there, as outlined within the paper itself, to be delivered by 2034-35, is exactly the right thing to do. However, you'll note from the recommendations that the recommendations don't actually sound as bold as the paper and the intention behind it is. I think it's important that when people read the recommendations of this, that they actually see the innovative intention of this council to deliver 1,200 homes over the course of the next 15 years, which is genuinely groundbreaking, as opposed to what it actually says at the moment, which is up to 1,200 homes over the period 2021 to 2049-50, based on the updated business plan. What that's suggesting is that it might be 1,200 in the next 30 years, whereas actually this council is committing to build 1,200 in the next 15 years, and I think it should say so. So I'm proposing that the amendment to recommendation 2 should replace the existing recommendation 2 with, to agree the council should increase the number of homes delivered through its HRA new build and acquisition programme to 1,200 homes over the period from 2021 to 2034-35, based on the updated business plan.
Thank you for that, Councillor Prater. Do you have a seconder?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to remove the back 5 words of that based on the updated business plan, and then I have a seconder. Sorry.
So would you like to read it out again?
So the recommendation 2 would now read, to agree the Council should agree the number of homes delivered through its HRA new build and acquisition programme to 1,200 homes over the period from 2021 to 2034-35, full stop.
Thank you. And do you have a seconder for that? Councillor Eyebrow, thank you. Before I Councillor Wimble, you wanted to speak.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, the only reason... Shall I try that one? The only reason I was going to speak was obviously all of these 100 blocks of 100 houses are subject to the planning at Otterpool. So although obviously it's very nice to say that, like Councillor Prater there, that we need to do these in a shorter span, obviously we can't really do that unless we know that we've got the planning passed for Otterpool to build these houses in this time span. The houses in the first block, 65, 26, etc., those are already on target and we've identified sites for them, have we?
Some, and they aren't all for be built on Otterpool, and it is an aspiration for, this is aspirational for what we intend to do. Where they will be hasn't been decided. Some will go on Otterpool, but others can go anywhere else. Anywhere sites come up, then a proportion of those houses built will be social housing. I'm now going to move on to the amendment, because we have an amendment proposed, and I would like to now people to speak to the amendment, and then we'll decide where we go from there. Thank you. Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Well, if I remember rightly, that's an issue that you raised earlier on to the officers, and I think, and I don't disagree with the amendment, except that I feel it should be perhaps aspirational. The word aspirational should perhaps be put in there, because it's all very well planning over the next 15 years that we're going to build them, and we want to. It is an aspiration, but as Councillor Wimble said, it will depend on land acquisition, planning, and a range of other things. So I don't disagree with the amendment, but I think we need the word aspiration in there somewhere.
Right. Now, if you are going to make an amendment to the amendment, you need to write it down.
We can't do it yet.
No.
Sorry, hopefully this is helpful. Members are debating the proposed and seconded amendment, and we need to conclude that before we can then take any further amendments, just so we're clear on the process. Hopefully that's helpful, Councillor Hollingsby.
Councillor Peel.
Thank you, Leader. I understand where the amendment's coming from. That seems to make sense. I understand where Councillor Hollingsby is coming from as well, from a cautionary point. I actually want to double check what the implications of, because obviously this is modelling in 2.4, the figures are 100, 100 and 100 effectively going forward. That's a very round number. That sounds to me like we know we're looking at 1,200. This is how we make the numbers work. But as you say, we haven't got the sites yet necessarily. We don't know where all of these are going to go to. So if we do agree the amendment, I think I know why we have the original recommendation in place. I'd like to know what the implications are and what the challenges would be to hit that amendment to do 1,200 in that timescale, and that may well come from officers. Please.
Okay. Well, I think we're verging on going into semantics here. This is basically, I started by saying this is for a strategic intent. I personally am quite happy to go along with the amendment. It doesn't take away from what we are intending to do. Now, if as the future develops we find we can't keep to that plan, then it can come back for alteration. What we're setting in stone here isn't set in stone forever. What we are doing is saying this is where we're starting off from, this is what we are aiming for. And you're quite right, the figures in there are a guess of roughly where we need to go to get there. But it could be that one year we build none and the next year we build 200. There's no saying where it goes, but if you don't start on the journey, you won't get there. As I say, I'm really quite happy to go forward with the amendment, remembering at the end of the day, this is the high-level aim that we're going for. Anybody else wish to speak on the amendment? Councillor Wimble.
I do think actually after the announcement was made by yourself at the council meeting, it was a very good news story for the council, and this does actually back up the fact that we intend to get on with it and do it. So I'm happy to go along with that amendment.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak? So, in which case, the proposal is to accept the amended wording on recommendation 2.
So we need to vote on that.
So it's good, and then I'll go back to do the lot. So, do we agree to the amended wording on recommendation 2? All those in favour? That is unanimous. So now, with the amended recommendation 2, do we approve all the recommendations? All those in favour?
No,
Pardon?
Who wants to speak?
Councillor White?
Yes, I do firmly support this strategy to increase the number of new council homes, but my support is conditional on us. On us actually also making sure that these houses are ecologically sustainable. So I hope that when we look at the next report in June, that will be built into the project. I was initially a bit concerned about the size of the borrowing. It is a huge amount, but I've been through the numbers with the officers, and I'm very grateful for that because that has reassured me. And just want to be clear, and I'd like it to be minuted, that I cannot support the housing on Prince's Parade, which is not specifically in the recommendations, but it is in paragraph 2.2 of the report. That will be so recorded. Again, can I just say that they are a list of sites that have the potential for that. They aren't in stone at this point in time. And that list can change and things come on and off. If the Princess Parade scheme doesn't go ahead, for instance, they would definitely fall. So, Councillor Prater.
Just very briefly on that point, I'd also like it minuted that I can't support the building of houses on Princess Parade, but I understand that I'm not endorsing that within this paper, so I just want it minuted that I don't do so.
Oh, noted. Okay, so right. So the recommendations now as amended were proposed by me, seconded by Councillor Peel. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, at this point in time, we are going to adjourn this Cabinet meeting until we receive the recommendations from the Council on item 7, which is the housing management options appraisal. Thank you very much. And we will resume immediately following the rise of council. Thank you.